Hi everyone. We're continuing with the chapter called List Manipulation. And in this part of the video, we are going to be looking at the various methods of the list class. Like we have seen various methods of the string class, there are also methods of the list class that we need to learn from the CBSE exam point of view. Okay. Now all these methods are going to be accessed or used in your program using the following syntax that you see on the screen. You write the name of the list variable, you write dot, you write the name of the method that you want to use, and if the method takes any parameters, then you write the parameters in bracket. Another alternative way is, instead of writing the list variable, you could directly write the list. That's called the list literal. Dot the method name and parameters if any. So let's start learning one method at a time. All the methods of the list class. Okay. The first method is called the index method. Now, if you see here on the screen, it says index in bracket item. What does this method do? It searches for this item that you've written in bracket in the given list. If the item exists, it returns the index number of the item. And if it doesn't exist, then it raises an error. Now, what if the item exists multiple times? Then in that scenario, it returns the index number of the first occurrence of the item. So if you see here in this example, we have a list called fruits with 4 fruits: apple, banana, cherry, and banana repeated once again. I've done it purposely for you to know that which index number would it return. Now I wrote fruits.index banana. So it's going to be returning the first occurrence of banana, which is at index number 1. Is that clear? But if you had written fruits.index orange, it would raise an error. The second function is the append function. What does this function do? Whatever item you write as a parameter to the append function, this item gets added on to your list at the end. So remember, it's modifying the original list and not just giving you a new list. Okay, so if I have fruits as apple, banana, and cherry, and if I say append orange, orange is going to be added to the list called fruits. But where is it going to be added? It's going to be added at the end. Now, if you had used append to add a list instead of an item, which is like an orange or a banana or a fruit, if you had added a list, then that entire list gets added to the existing list as a sub list or a nested list. So according to the append function, it has added only one element, but that element of yours consists of many other values in it. Is that clear? So the append function would give you the output like this. Then you have the function called extend. When you want to add the content of one list to the other list, okay, or concatenate the contents of one list to the other list, then in that scenario, we make use of extend. So suppose I want to add all the contents of list 2 to list 1, then list 2 becomes my parameter. The list or the elements of the list which needs to be added to the current list. So I have 2 lists here, fruits and vegetables. And I've said fruits.extend wedge. What does it mean? The wedge list gets added to the fruits list, making it a bigger list of 5 elements. And what are the 5 elements? Apple, banana, cherry, potato, and peas. Now, like I said in the append function, the wedge list doesn't get into the fruit list as a sub list or a nested list. The elements of the wedge list are picked up from the wedge list and added on to the fruits list. Is that clear? Okay. Now append was adding to the end of the list. What if you wanted to add some element at some particular index location? Then in that scenario, we make use of the insert function. Now the insert function or method requires 2 parameters: the position, which means the index number where you want to insert, and the item that you want to insert. Okay. So I have a list called apple, banana, cherry, and mango. Now let me just annotate on this and show you the index numbers here. This is at 0, this is at 1, this is at 2, and this is at 3. Where do you want to insert orange? At index number 1, which means orange has to come here. If orange has to come here, banana, cherry, mango all have to shift one position to the right. Okay. And I have apple, orange, banana, cherry, mango. Okay. Then some ask me that can you just specify positive indexes? I mean positions. Can you also specify negative? Yes, you can specify negative as I show in this example. But let me just tell you what exactly happens here. Let me write the negative indexing here. This is -1. This is -2. This is -3. And this is -4. So you want orange to be added to -2 location. So cherry and mango gets shifted. So what are the elements of my fruits list? It's going to be apple, banana, orange, cherry, mango. But after this insertion, if you look at the index value of orange, it is not -2, it is going to be -3 because you added it at location -2, but the elements at -2 and -1 got shifted out, which means the position does not continue to remain for orange as -2. It is going to be -3 as you see here as the output. Is that clear? Okay, so let me just continue with the next function. The next function we are going to see is the pop function. This function is used to delete something from your list. But in that scenario, you specify the position or the index number of the element that you want to delete. And if the index number that you specify is not in the given range of the list, it flashes an error. So if I write no position value and just write the pop function, in that scenario, it deletes the last element. In this current list, what is the last element? Cherry. Cherry gets deleted and I'm left with only apple and banana. But let me show you another example. I said pop 1. That means delete the element and index location 1. So if I delete the element at index location 1, banana gets deleted and you're left with apple and cherry. Clear? Okay. Let me talk about another function or a method called remove, similar to pop, but in pop you specify the index number of the element that you want to delete. But in remove, you specify the element that you want to delete. And in case you specify an element that does not exist, it flashes an error. So here, instead of saying the index number of banana, I'm actually saying fruits.remove banana. So banana gets deleted and you're left with apple and cherry. Is that clear? Okay. The next function is the clear method. What does this function do? This function clears the contents of your list and makes the list an empty list. So if I had 2, 4, 6 as the contents of my list called L. And if I say L.clear and then after that print L, it's just going to give me an empty list. Then comes the function count. If you want to know that how many times a particular item exists in the list, then in that scenario, make use of the function called count. And if the item that you're specifying doesn't exist in the list, then it returns the value 0. So if you see here, I have a list of elements, and when I say L.count2, it is going to tell me how many times 2 appeared in this list. And you can see very clearly 2 has appeared how many times? 2 times. Okay. Another example, I have a list and I'm asking to count for element 7. And we know in the list that element 7 doesn't exist. Then what does the function return? 0. So the function returns a 0. Okay, so let's go ahead. The function called reverse, the name itself tells you what will this function do? Will reverse your list. So if you have your list as 1, 2, 4, 5, 2, 5, it's just going to be 5, 2, 5, 4, 2, 1 the minute you reverse the list. Clear? Okay. The next function is called the sort function. The sort is to arrange the data either in ascending order or descending order. By default is ascending. Generally, in normal things, everything by default is ascending. If I ask you stand according to your height in a class, what do? Do you start from the tallest boy to the shortest boy? No, you start from the shortest boy to the tallest boy, because that's how our concept of sort speaks about that, small to big. So by default is ascending. But if you want it to be descending, then what you do is, currently, can you see the sort function doesn't take any parameters? In the parameters, you write reverse is equal to true. Then in that scenario, it does it in descending order. Okay, so I have the list here. When I arrange it, can you see it's in ascending order now? And if I had written reverse is equal to true as a parameter, can you see it is arranging in descending order? So I hope sort is clear. Okay, then the last of the functions is the min, the max, and the sum. Even if I don't explain, you would have known what it does. Min will find the smallest value in the list, max will find the biggest value in the list, and sum will find the total value in the list. You can use min and max with strings as well. Then in that scenario, it's looking at the ASCII value or the ordinal value. Do you remember this topic being dealt in string manipulation? When we were comparing strings, I told you it's comparing on the basis of their ordinal value or ASCII value. Same thing, it will do the comparison here to find min and max, but definitely you cannot use the sum function with strings. It has to be a numeric value. So I've just given a string with some values, and I said max of L, min of L, and sum of L. Now pay attention. Min, max, and sum, they are not methods of a class called list. So you did not call it as L.max. All the other previous methods up to method number 10, we wrote L.sort, L.reverse. Now these max, min, and sum are built-in functions of Python. They are not methods of a class called list, but they are built-in functions of Python, and they do not require the list object dot the method name. It's just the method name, like your print function or your len function or your type function or the other functions that we have learned. So you write max and the name of the list, write min and the name of the list, write sum and the name of the list. So these three methods, normally we call such functions as functions and not methods. The word method we use for all the methods that belong to a class. Anything that directly belongs to the Python library, we call it generally as functions. But then they are used interchangeably. Sometimes they call method, sometimes they call function, but the concept is this. If the function belongs to a class, then you use the class object dot the method name. If a function is a general function, then you just call it by its name and pass the required parameter to it. So in this scenario, what do you expect to see? Max as 5, min as 1, and sum as the summation of all that, which is 15. Is that clear? So I hope the functions and the methods of class list and general functions are clear. In the next video, we would be doing some programs that may use these functions or probably use programming logic to solve the programs. Is that clear? Okay, see you in the next video. Bye. Thank you.